Welcome to our July sightings video, Great British Finned Friends. The first 12 days of July were mostly unsettled, with spells of wind, heavy rain and showers, especially over England and Wales. All areas were drier and much warmer by mid-month, with unbroken sunshine in many parts. The final week became much more unsettled again, with frequent showery rain and wind due to the passage of Storm Everett. Just in time to coincide with our annual National Whale and Dolphin Watch Week. The number of sightings reported increased by over 1,000 from the previous month, reaching at least 1,950 of 13 species. Harbour porpoises were recorded all around the British Isles, from Shetland to Cornwall. Large numbers of sightings occurred in the Hebrides and off the west coast of Scotland, but they were seen off every coast of Britain, including Norfolk, Suffolk, Essex and Kent, where they are typically less commonly seen. Most sightings were of less than 6 animals, but aggregations of up to 20 were seen in Cornwall, Pembrokeshire, North Anglesey and West Scotland. In late summer, porpoises often gather in coastal areas to feed upon sprat or herring fry, and at this time they can be seen frequently engaged in social activity. Bottlenose dolphins were seen in many parts of the British Isles. Unsurprisingly, the majority of sightings came from the Moray Firth, south to North Yorkshire, and from Cardigan Bay in West Wales. Along the south coast of England, there were sightings from Hove in West Sussex, off the Dorset coast, and West Cornwall. In the Channel Islands, bottlenose dolphins were spotted off Jersey, Guernsey and Alderney. In the Irish Sea, north of Cardigan Bay, the species was recorded off Rhyl in North Wales, off Blackpool, and at several locations in the Isle of Man. Off southwest Scotland, small numbers were seen all up the west coast of Scotland, from Dumfries and Galloway to the Minches north of Skye, whilst there were sighting reports of the small population that inhabit the waters around Barra in the Outer Hebrides. Most groups were of less than 10 individuals, but up to 50 were counted off the east coast of Scotland, up to 40 off the Northumberland coast, up to 30 in the Channel Islands, and up to 20 off the Dorset coast. Sightings of common dolphin were concentrated off the west coast of Britain, particularly in the southwest from Dorset in Cornwall, with pods numbering up to 120 animals off Penzance. Smaller numbers of up to 50 were seen in the Bristol Channel and Irish Sea, mainly around Pembrokeshire and the Isle of Man. There were very many sightings off the west coast of Scotland and in both the Inner and Outer Hebrides, with most groups in the low tens of dolphins, but a few groups exceeding 100, including more than 200 counted west of Mull. The most northerly sighting was a small group of 10 off the north coast of Sutherland at Strathy Point. Risso's dolphins occupied many of their traditional haunts. Groups of up to 12 were seen at several localities in Shetland and Orkney, with up to 30 off the Caithness coast. Smaller numbers were spotted regularly off Penzance in West Cornwall. Further north in Wales, the species was seen off Pembrokeshire, off the end of the Llyn Peninsula, around Bardsey Island, and at several locations off North Anglesey. The next hotspot of records comes from the Isle of Man, with 30 or more seen in some groups. In western Scotland, Risso's dolphins were reported from various locations, including Mull in the Inner Hebrides and Barra, St Kilda and the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, as well as along the coast of Wester Ross. White-beaked dolphins were reported from 4 regions around the British Isles: Orkney, North East England, Falmouth Bay in Cornwall and the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, with groups numbering up to 20 individuals. Further north in Shetland, there were several sightings of Atlantic white-sided dolphins in the second half of July, sometimes in large schools of up to 200 animals. During this month, 3 unusual visitors were reported. The first was a beluga whale off Lamberness in Shetland on the 20th of July. The second was Sowerby's beaked whale in the Firth of Forth on the 25th of July. And the third was a striped dolphin in the same general area at South Queensferry on the 30th of July. All 3 species were far from their usual habitat. A more usual visitor to UK waters was the killer whale or orca, with a pod of up to 8 individuals reported from several locations in Shetland. A group of 5 was seen also at Johns Haven in Fife, whilst a probable orca was observed offshore in the Irish Sea between Anglesey and the Isle of Man. The commonest baleen whale was as usual the minke whale. There were sightings around much of the British Isles, but with concentrations in the Minches and Sea of Hebrides, the Moray Firth and eastern England, from Northumberland to Yorkshire. The species was also seen in Cornwall, Pembrokeshire, the Isle of Man, the Northern Isles, east coast of Scotland and Northern Ireland. Most sightings were of single individuals, but 4 were seen in the most southern Moray Firth and off Col in Argyll, and aggregations of up to 15 in the Minches, east of Lewis and Harris. The sei whale that took up residence in the Firth of Forth from April onwards was spotted again west of the Isle of May on the 8th of July, whilst another was seen off Scalpay in the Outer Hebrides. Finally, solitary humpback whales were reported from several localities in Shetland on the 6th and 25th of July and off the south Cornish coast between Looe and Plymouth on the 17th to the 18th of July. Other interesting marine species spotted during July included several sunfish all around southwest England, basking sharks in the Hebrides and off South Devon, and a leatherback turtle off the Gower Peninsula in South Wales. The walrus that was first seen off Valentia Island in County Kerry in mid-March, nicknamed Wally, and then journeyed to Pembrokeshire, Cornwall, France and Spain over the coming months, spent much of July wrecking boats in the Isles of Scilly. Latest news is that he has moved to County Cork in Southern Ireland, where he is using small boats as resting places, much to the dismay of the owners. Wally is getting himself in terrible trouble. What a month it has been. Thank you for watching, and if you want to support our work, please visit www.seawatchfoundation.org.uk. You can also adopt a dolphin for just £3.50 a month. www.adoptadolphin.org.uk. We really appreciate your support. See you next month.